Maya stood still, clutching the cup of cold coffee in her hand, as the words echoed again in her mind. Greater than, you're just not date material, Maya. You're too nice, too emotional, too much. She had finished for him, smiling even as her heart cracked. Ryan shrugged. Maybe. You deserve someone else, I guess. Someone else. The cafe around her buzzed with laughter and music, but inside her, everything went quiet. She'd been seeing Ryan for almost 3 months. 3 months of gentle gestures, long conversations, and fragile hope. And now, he was gone. When she got home that evening, she sat by her window with her journal, writing what she always did when life hurt too much. Greater than, I'd rather be too kind than too cold. I'd rather feel too deeply than not at all. Someday, someone will see that as love, not a flaw. She closed her journal, whispering a quiet prayer she didn't even know she believed in. Maya worked at a community library in the small town of Cedar Falls. The pay was modest, but she loved it. The smell of books, the quiet joy of helping others, and the small acts of kindness that filled her days. Every Wednesday, the library hosted Story Hour for kids. Maya volunteered to read, often slipping in gentle lessons about empathy and courage through fairy tales. That day, as she was setting up, a little boy about 6 years old ran in, his shoelaces untied, his hair messy, clutching a small toy car. "Slow down, champ," came a man's voice from the doorway. Maya looked up, and for a second, forgot to breathe. The man was tall, ruggedly handsome, with tired eyes that somehow still shone with warmth. He carried a small backpack and an expression that said he hadn't had a good night's sleep in a while. "Sorry," he said, smiling sheepishly. "First time here. I'm Daniel. This is Leo." Leo gave her a wide grin and held up his toy car. "It's Lightning McQueen." Maya laughed. "Nice to meet you, Leo." "I love Lightning McQueen." Daniel raised an eyebrow. "You do." She shrugged. "He's fast, brave, and red. What's not to love?" Something about her lightness made Daniel's lips twitch into a smile. He hadn't smiled like that in a long time. Over the next few weeks, Maya got used to seeing Daniel and Leo every Wednesday. She learned that Daniel was a mechanic who owned a small workshop. He'd lost his wife, Emily, 3 years ago to cancer. Since then, he'd been raising Leo on his own, juggling work, parenthood, and the silent grief that lingered like a shadow. Maya never asked too many questions. She just listened, really listened, when he talked. One afternoon, as the kids colored in their drawings, Daniel lingered behind, watching Leo laugh with other children. "He didn't laugh like that for a long time," Daniel said quietly. "Thank you." Maya smiled gently. "You don't need to thank me. He's a wonderful kid." Daniel turned to her, his gaze steady. "You're kind. That's rare these days." She looked away, remembering Ryan's words. "Not everyone thinks so." "Well," Daniel said softly, "then not everyone knows what real value looks like." A month later, Leo's 7th birthday arrived. The library organized a small surprise party for him, balloons, cupcakes, and even a Lightning McQueen cake that Maya secretly ordered herself. When Leo saw it, he squealed in delight and threw his arms around her. "Miss Maya, you're the best." Daniel watched, his throat tightening. He hadn't seen his son that happy in years. Later, as they cleaned up, Daniel found Maya stacking books near the corner shelf. "You didn't have to do all this," he said. "I wanted to," she replied. "He's a special boy." Daniel looked at her for a long moment. "You really mean that, don't you? You don't do things because you have to, you do them because you care." Maya smiled. "That's how kindness works. It doesn't ask for anything in return." Something shifted in Daniel's chest then, a quiet, undeniable pull. A few weeks later, Daniel stopped by the library holding 2 cups of coffee. "I figured I owed you one," he said, "since you basically threw my son a better party than I ever could." Maya laughed. It was teamwork. They sat outside on the library steps, sipping their coffee as the autumn breeze swirled leaves around them. "So," Daniel began, "can I ask you something?" "Sure. Why do you do it? Why do you care so much about everyone?" Maya looked out at the trees. "Because people need kindness, even if they don't say it. It's like sunlight. You don't see it working, but it helps things grow. Daniel studied her for a long moment. My wife used to say things like that. Maya smiled softly. She sounds wonderful. She was, he said, voice thick. And for a long time, I thought I'd never meet anyone who carried that same light. She looked at him, eyes wide, but before she could say anything, Leo ran up, laughing. The moment slipped away like wind between their fingers. One rainy afternoon, Ryan walked into the library. Maya froze. He hadn't been back since that awful day. Hey, he said casually. Didn't expect to see you here. This is where I work, Ryan. He gave a short laugh. Right, you look different, happier, maybe. I am. He frowned slightly. You know, I was thinking, maybe I judged you too fast. You're kind, caring, maybe too much, but maybe that's what I need right now. Maya stared at him, disbelief and pity mixing in her heart. Before she could respond, Daniel walked in, shaking the rain from his jacket, with Leo trailing behind. Maya, we brought you soup. You skipped lunch yesterday, Daniel said. Ryan turned, startled. You two know each other? Maya smiled. Daniel and Leo are friends. Daniel offered his hand. Hey, I'm Leo's dad. Ryan's eyes flicked between them, then back to Maya. Ah, I see. So this is why you're glowing. Maya met his gaze calmly. No, Ryan, I'm glowing because I stopped letting people dim me. Ryan had no words. He just nodded awkwardly and left. When the door closed, Daniel raised an eyebrow. Friend of yours. Once, she said softly. But I think that chapter's over. After that day, things between Daniel and Maya changed, quietly, beautifully. He started coming by not just on Wednesdays, but other days too, sometimes with coffee, sometimes just to talk. Maya found herself looking forward to those moments, the way he listened, the way he made her laugh, the way Leo would tug her hand and say, come play with us. One evening, they had dinner together at a small diner. Leo keeps asking if you can come to his school fair next week, Daniel said, smiling. I'd love to, Maya replied. Daniel hesitated, then added, he's getting attached. And to be honest, so am I. Maya looked up, her heart skipping. Daniel, he sighed, I don't want to rush anything. I haven't felt this kind of peace in a long time. You make things feel safe. She smiled softly. That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me. He reached across the table, brushing his fingers against hers. It's the truest thing I've ever said. Just when everything seemed perfect, Daniel started pulling away. Calls unanswered, messages delayed, visits missed. After 3 days of silence, Maya went to his workshop. He looked surprised to see her. Maya. Hey, sorry, I've been busy. You've been avoiding me, she said gently. What's going on? Daniel rubbed his forehead. I'm scared, Maya. Every time I care about someone, life takes them away. I can't go through that again. Maya stepped closer. I'm not her, Daniel. And love doesn't mean forgetting. It means healing together. He looked at her for a long time, torn between fear and hope. Then Leo ran in, holding a drawing. Daddy, look, it's me, you, and Miss Maya. In crayon colors, 3 smiling stick figures held hands beneath a bright sun. Daniel stared at it, and suddenly, something broke open inside him. He pulled Maya into his arms, whispering, I'm done being scared. Months passed, and their lives blended naturally. Maya became a steady part of their little world, helping Leo with homework, cooking dinner together, laughing on lazy Sundays. One spring evening, Daniel took her back to the same cafe where she once sat heartbroken. Maya, he said, holding her hand across the table, this was where someone once told you that you weren't date material. She blinked, surprised. You remember that? I remember everything about you, he said. But they were wrong. You're not date material, Maya. You're marriage material. He got down on one knee, a small velvet box in his hand. Leo peeked from behind the counter, whispering loudly, say yes, Miss Maya. Maya laughed through her tears. Yes, 1,000 times yes. The cafe erupted in applause as Daniel slipped the ring on her finger. Years later, in their small cozy home, Maya sat by the window again, only this time, she wasn't alone. Daniel was fixing a toy car on the floor, Leo was drawing with crayons, and laughter filled the air. She opened her old journal and read her words again. Greater than, someday, someone will see that is love, not a flaw. She smiled, closing the book. Because he had. And together, they built a life not of perfection, but of kindness, proof that the softest hearts often create the strongest.